I know that many people are alarmed by Christians flocking to the book of Revelation. What about Revelation chapter 1, verse 3?
Well, let's look that up. Revelation 1:3 says, "Blessed is the one who reads aloud the words of this prophecy, and blessed are those who hear and who keep what is written in it, for the time is near." I notice the verse doesn't say, "Blessed are the ones that obsess with figuring out the time of the end," or "Blessed are those that make their end times views as important as the gospel," or "Blessed is the one who questions the salvation of those who doesn't agree with their end times theology." Okay, that's what I'm saying. I don't like an obsession over eschatology because all of those things happen, and they happen with frequency, all too much frequency. So that's my concern. I'm certainly not saying don't read the book of Revelation. Scratch Revelation 1:3 out. Don't read it. Don't try to keep its message. Well, what's its message? Be ready for the Lord's return. And you can say that independent of any position on end times prophecy. Again, what irritates me is that people, I hate to say it this way, but I'll be blunt. You know what? Most Christians have next to no command of their Bible. Most Christians, here's what they read: the Gospels, Revelation, Proverbs, Psalms, and Genesis. That's what they read. And frankly, that's a byproduct of preaching because that's basically what gets preached. There's a whole lot more to the Bible than that. And so I don't want people to be fixated on certain books. And when it comes to Revelation, and I get it, there's this fascination and mystery, of prophecy and all that kind of stuff. What's going to happen in the future? We're human, okay? We want to know stuff like that, so I get it. But what happens all too often is that people will get into it, and then they'll find some teacher that presents to them this beautiful system, of course, not telling them all the problems with it. And then that becomes part of their Christian identity, becomes part of their status of being a Christian, this particular view of end times. And when people object to that view, or at least don't share it, since it's so tightly entwined with their identity as a Christian, the propensity is, at least in my experience, and I've been a Christian for over 30 years here, I've seen this happen a lot, that the propensity is that you tend to look differently at the believer who doesn't buy into your system, and you wonder. You may not ever wonder, you may not get all the way to saying, well, I wonder if they're really a Christian. But you may say, well, I wonder what their problem is. Aren't they studying this sufficiently? Maybe they're not as committed. Or maybe they're just not letting the Spirit of God guide them. Oh, but for the grace of God, I would make the mistakes they make. I'm just so thankful that the Spirit of God is guiding me, and I wish he was guiding that other guy over there, but he's not, because if he was, they'd agree with me. That's just wrong. Okay, but I see it happen too much, and it often happens with prophecy, and of course the focus point for prophecy is the book of Revelation. So that's what I'm concerned about.